Fanfic Corner, presented by Jennifer. Sombra's Midnight Star. Chapter 12. Sombra. I was in a hurry. I did not have time to wait for her to pick out a dress, so I did what any respectable alicorn would do, aka what I would do. I magicked a dress onto her. I went with a black dress with a red-tipped ruffled skirt. I also set rubies in the pattern of my signature 6-point star at the sweetheart neckline bodice. The sleeves were adorned with black lace. I curled her mane and adored her mane with rubies too. I probably shouldn't have put her in my colors, but she was supposed to be my mate, and she looked far too pretty to change. And she looked good in ruby red and black. Yes, I was selfish enough to keep her in my colors after all. I wrapped my wing around her and teleported. I would deal with the black glitter on the carpet later. Fantastic. Midnight. In a cloud of black glitter, which somehow ended up in my mouth, we entered an over-the-top grand hall. The place was so huge it made Sombra look small. And that was saying something. The floors were hewn from pure obsidian glass, polished so finely that I could see myself clearly and very easily slip on a banana peel if there was one. It was like walking on a black mirror. The walls were made with what looked like uncut rubies and golden runes etched in the stone. Golden columns held an obsidian ceiling with diamonds embedded in the stone, making the ceiling look like the night sky. The hall was endless, at least to me, seeming to go on forever. Sombra made his way to the golden grand staircase just as I was about to pass out. After what felt like an eternity, we finally made it to the top. I was panting when we got there, but the dang black alicorn looked like he was put together and wasn't winded at all. What the hey? That's not fair. And he was laughing at me. The nerve. The Lady Anteras, second-born of Harmony, welcomes you to the council. A gentle voice carried across the grand hallway. What pleasure it is for me to announce the arrival of the firstborn and his companion on this auspicious occasion. Always a pleasure, Zephaniah. Sombra smiled and bowed. I, on the other hand, could not stop staring at this beautiful creature. A kinkyu, with 10 tails, came walking up to us. Her arms spread wide. Her fur was a beautiful shade of jade green that complemented the beautiful cream dress. A length of cream fur covered one of her blue-green eyes. The tips of her tails were also cream-colored. It is always a pleasure, Lady Zephaniah, she corrected. By Harmony, what have I always told you about contractions? Contractions at their core are innocence and indolence and unflattering. Every word you utter should be given its due, at least in polite company. The Kinkajou scoffed. I will concede, however, that nicknames have their uses. I call myself Zepha. I do not respond to the boorish moniker Zephilina. The Kinkajou rolled her eyes and shook a dainty claw at Sombra in a manner that was almost intimidating. I do not enjoy the way my full name sounds on your lips, or the lips of any other creature. For that matter, she glanced behind her with another roll of her eyes. Now, Sombra, come give me a hug. And hug they did. For some reason, I myself wanted to hug the fluffy Kinkajou. This was the first time I had ever seen one up close. Zepha was slightly taller than Sombra, which would put her height at approximately towering over me. Great, that's what I needed. I needed another creature to give me a short pony complex again. Sombra already did it, thank you very much. Sombra bursted out laughing. Poor Zepha looked confused until I admitted, he's laughing at what I thought. Indeed, was all she said, her green-blue-green eyes twinkling as she turned back toward Sombra. Sombra, you know reading minds is to snigger at inside jokes is discouraged. And, dear little unicorn, please refrain from using contractions in my presence. To put it simply, ponies do not seem to understand the proper use of contractions. Furthermore, what contractions invade the speech? When contractions invade the speech, they will surely spread onto parchment. An exaggerated sigh escaped her muzzle. Firmly, she said, Sombra, would you care to introduce me to your lovely companion? Ah, yes. How could I forget? Zepha, may I introduce... Midnight Star. This lovely mammal is called Zepha, firstborn Kinkajou, mother to all the Kinkajous, and creator of the equinations, despite the fact that she is not an equine. If not for her, we would still be speaking by Wesha tongue, the language of magic and the ancients. He swept his wings with an obvious flair and theatrics during his introduction. I could tell he loved to show off, at least in front of this foxy lady. Zephyr smiled graciously as she performed a perfect curtsy. I tried to curtsy back, but just fell on my face. Frustrated with myself and very much embarrassed, I lay still on the floor, regretting my life decisions. A jade paw appeared in my field of vision. I looked up to find Zephyr, laughter twinkling in her eyes. "You shall do," she said, as she helped me back to my feet. "However, we shall address your etiquette in later meetings. Oh, you are perfect indeed for our little Sombra, and so adorable." She squished my face between her paws, while cooing at me as if I was just a little filly. Sombra snickered at my plight. "Thanks a lot, you traitor." A loud boom echoed across the hall, making me jump and hit Zephyr's chin. Before I could apologize to her, a mellifluous voice rang through the hall. "Zephyrina, what rebel have you brought into my hall to play with? Send it back to the streets. I will not have creatures scurrying about destroying my house before my Sombra arrives." I peered around Zephyr to find a beautiful alicorn. She had the exact color scheme that Sombra did, but in reverse. She was red all over except for the tips of her wings, mane, and tail. Those were black as night. The alicorn wore a golden dress, and it looked like her dress was made of liquid gold. Her eyes were ebony in color, with a crimson circle marking the boundaries between iris and pupil in each eye. Golden horseshoes with intricate swirls graced her hooves. I looked down to find I wore silver shoes dressed with wings instead of swirls. Fancy. Okay. I looked back at the kinkajou in front of me to find her folding her cream and gold eagle-like wings away behind her back. I don't know why I hadn't seen them before, but now that I did, I simply couldn't look away. Even though there was a beautiful alicorn in the room, and I guess Sombra, I firmly believe that Zephyr outshone the newcomer any day with her beauty and grace. I felt Sombra's ring wrap around me and pull me into his side. He growled at the newcomer as she, in obvious grace and poise, approached us. Her ebony red eyes lit up in excitement when they landed on him. In a blink of my eye, I found her rubbing herself on Sombra, as if she were a cat in heat. Jealousy and no small amount of disgust washed over me in a blinding wave as I looked upon this repulsive display. I felt my magic flare up in my horn, ready to strike. But I stopped when I saw, by chance, the utter disgust in Sombra's eyes. "Sombra, it's such a pleasure to have you join me. Come, dinner is served in the onyx parlor," purled the red thing. "Anteras, I'm only here for a short while," rumbled Sombra, his voice once again turning my bones into jelly. But it wasn't quite as pleasant as now as it had been the other times. "Please get to the point of this meeting." "I have begun to wonder, my mate, if you do not enjoy my company anymore," Anteras said as she rubbed her head under Sombra's chin. "You do not wear my colors anymore. One would think—" "The point, Anteras." "Right. The point is, the council is mine, and you are going around saying that you want to take over? Why now, after 50 years of complete silence, do you want to control the council?" "Because you are doing a crummy job of holding the alicorns in line." "Excuse me? I'm doing a fantastic job of keeping the alicorns in line. Why,
Another raz has happened 3 days ago. Over 100 ponies lost their lives. My midnight was attacked yesterday by 2 of your lieutenants. If that is an example of you holding the line, I am overdue to come back from retirement."
He is right, you know," a deep, rich voice cut in. I wriggled my head out from under Sombra's wing to find a male alicorn. Well then, his coat was navy blue shone under a creamy-colored mane. His mane exquisitely covered one of his dark chocolate eyes. Rawr. Shocking to see an equine almost Sombra's equal. The alicorn's navy fur turned cream starting at the knees and running down to his hose. His eyes twinkled in mischief when he saw me, and, dear Harmony, my expression. I looked away, ashamed at myself. Hello, little one. Well, you are a pretty little thing, and not quite the pumpkin pie at that, my favorite. They call me White Miser. As he drawled out his introduction, he struck a ridiculous pose. I chuckled. This alicorn was all right. Shut up! No pony calls you that, yelled a disgruntled Anteras. She bared her teeth at the White Miser. Every pony does, just not you, princess, he stated as he strutted around the red thing. You will call me that, right, sugar? I nodded feebly, still weak from the embarrassment and other things. He wagged his eyebrows at me. Then he postured again. This time he spread his wings, whacking Anteras' face in the process, looking to his right and raised his left foreleg, swaying his muscular flank in my face. For some reason, he wore a golden pocket watch on his flank, with a chain wrapped around his leg. The pocket watch's chain wove among white lilies. I could not understand why he would have a pocket watch on his flank. I have never seen anything like it before. I guess it was just an alicorn thing. I looked away once I remembered where I was looking. Who is this delectable morsel? Anteras asked, rudely sticking her face into mine. My, what a delicious scent you have. Good enough to eat. Her smile showed more dagger-like teeth than I would have liked to see. A weird feeling came over me. I felt dizzy all of a sudden. I felt spiders crawling up my legs. Oh, sweet Harmony, I hated spiders. Those bugs were crawling everywhere. Get them off, 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 Sombra. It's all right, my midnight. Anteras? Sombra spoke. The spider suddenly disappeared. She is quite precious to me. I found Sombra's eyes filled with adoration. It was too much. He did care. I never would have guessed it. Now I wanted to hug him. Later, though, when we got back, Anteras' face perfectly mimicked sucking on a lemon. She did not look happy. She labored with her words. She's precious to you? I could be convinced it was hard for her to say that. If she called Sombra mate, then she must not like him saying that I am precious to him. Oh well. Very. Why? She tilted her head in question. What makes this unicorn special compared to all the rest of them? Compared to me? Am I not precious to you? She sounded wounded while asking her question. She looked as if I had told her the wrong answer. As if, had I told her the wrong answer, it would break her. Now I felt bad for the poor creature. Anteras, you are as close as a sister to me as I'm ever going to have. But I have no capacity in my heart to love you. How can one love an empty carcass? Midnight is a living soul. She is her own pony. A being like me in soul. A perfect complement to mine. A being truly capable of love and growth and maturity. She is teaching me what it is like to love some pony other than myself or Harmony. So no, you are not as precious to me as Midnight. A tear escaped from one onyx eye. But I love you. She let her tears fall where they may. Are you truly capable of love? Sniffing, she wiped away her tears. She shook off the last of her sorrows and composed herself. I wouldn't have guessed earlier that she would be distraught. Sombra was being very inconsiderate of her feelings. He should have apologized to her. I hear you, was all she said. Her horn flashed black. Nothing happened. I guessed it was a fluke. Then everything went dark.